Hey everyone, Devin and I are here. Today we're gonna walk through Retool Agents. It's in beta right now. We just wanted to see what the landing page looks like, walk through the experience, just share our live commentary.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Let's do it. Alrighty, so we're gonna start with the landing page. If you don't already know, Retool creates internal tools. So if you want to, for example, deal with fraud, do some customer success tasks or some sales tasks, anything internal, you can just build the app itself. So agents, it sounds like you can immediately create an internal agent, and scanning through this, it looks kind of like LangGraph. The idea here is that you can create an agent that does the work itself instead of what Retool's bread and butter is, which is allow you to create the internal app to conduct the business.
Yeah, I think the promise of actually being able to automate my job is what they're starting to go for rather than just make it a little bit easier.
And scanning through the landing page, one is, I think what's interesting is it's clearly that this is some sort of AI video. So that's kind of interesting, like the fact that they're using it for the landing page. On their use cases, they have what looks like 6 core use cases, or I guess their initial use cases: scheduling, calendars, some chargeback fraud, logistics, and creative sidekick. What's your gut reaction on this landing page?
I think it lands well. I think this is one of these things that, as a person just trying to automate away a little bit of my job, hopefully so that I can kind of kick back a little bit, building agents that can do real work in your business is, really stands out. I think the thing that is going to be a question as we start to build the workflow is how easy is it for me to actually record what I normally do day to day and capture that rather than just put together more of a Zapier, I have to go figure out all the different Zaps, I have to go figure out all the different apps I can use. But I like it. It's very long, though. It's kind of hard for me to see everything that they offer here. They're a pretty fully featured platform.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that's one of the struggles of a product like Retool is how do you sell the value prop when you end up just doing everything? Or,
right.
Kind of saying you can do everything as opposed to a verticalized like AI platform of, hey, I specifically do sales or specifically help customer support. So
I like their tagline at the very bottom, but it's like at the bottom, AI capabilities as limitless as your imagination.
Cool. So I say we dive into what it looks like to create an agent.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's interesting is when you sign up for Retool, you actually go through a process of just getting started for the core app. So you can't just jump right into the agents beta. You're actually just taught how to create a table, create actions on the table. So one thing, if I was Retool, is like, okay, if I want to offer agents from scratch, how do I onboard a customer? I think that's an interesting problem they'll have to deal with. Let's go ahead and try to create a new agent and create that. And looking through it, we've tried a couple other tools that let you create agents. It's pretty similar. You've got your triggers here. Right now, it's like you can either just chat with the agent or create an email handle that you can send it to. And then you have your large box of instructions. And would you say that's pretty common?
Pretty common so far.
Okay.
I do think this question of what is an agent is important for these kind of things. You have a chat reactive interaction. Is that really an agent at that point? And then you have the let it go off and gather some data and send me an email, which I think is more of that proactive classic agent approach.
Yeah. And yeah, depending on who you talk to, you've got your instructions, you've got the actual tools that the agent can use, the underlying model itself. The question is that what an agent is? Is it more than that? Is it the evals themselves? Is it where it's running? How it can run? But for now, pretty standard. You've got your instructions, the tools, and it can be invoked right now via chat. So
I do like that they bring logs and evals to the forefront, right away. It's like, hey, if you're going to debug these kind of things, you want to be able to look and see what's happening.
So this agent here is competitive intel. Looks like it has access to web search. It can send an email. The rest of these look like dedicated DB calls. So there's probably a list of competitors. So let's actually try asking one. Latest info on Salesforce. And we'll see what happens.
Is that asking the agent, though? That's asking how to configure it.
Oh, sorry. You're so right. See, I already screwed up. So this is the actual configuration assistant.
It did help you, though. Look.
Yeah. That's so interesting. And so we've actually been using BrainTrust or testing to use BrainTrust, and they have a very similar experience where you can, in the playground, ask for updates to your prompt. So this is a configuration as an assistant to actually update the agent itself. So
the agent who builds the agent, who watches the watchman.
So a little bit of UX kerfuffle for me here, but let's go actually to the chat itself. See latest info on Salesforce. And this seems to be the primary interaction method of actually chatting with the agent, and then it'll kick off and do the work itself. So I'm actually curious. Obviously we're in a beta account, so we're not sure if this is the final experience, but you can live see the actions, the tool calls on the right. It's currently in the web search, getting that information. So let's let it go through the process.
Yeah, and you can really start to debug what it's doing as well. You have the thinking trace-ish associated there. You have the tool use. It's a good set of steps. I don't know what this is supposed to be on the right. This seems to be a broken JPEG.
This one here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Showing us something.
I'm guessing it's trying to render the page. I'm curious if it's doing like a screenshot or actually actively iframe embedding.
Get web page content is whenever that's happening.
So that's interesting. I'm going to let that go for a second. I just want to go back to the configuration. So it looks like, there are clear steps here, and eventually it will send an email. So it looks like the last step is to send email.
Does it automatically have access to that? Where's the tool list that it has access
here.
to?
So it has like the...
Oh yeah, send email.
It's using Retools actual action here.
Did you configure that already?
It's using just my account. So
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, my account is my email, and it's going to send to me.
Can you change that? Like go to edit on the send email? I wonder if you could change it who it's sending from.
Yeah, you can
or
actually
to.
In the instructions just change this. So
Nice.
It definitely has some parameters you can set here.
I mean, it's nice that they clearly show you everything that's in the prompt right there.
Mm-hmm. So let's see actually how long this takes. As that's going on, I actually kind of want to just jump into the monitor here for a second. Just want to see. I've run it a couple times. Haven't gone through the actual traces itself, but you can just see. I kind of am not sure. Like I see previous runs, but this whole like token generation here, I don't think it's real.
That is probably made up.
Yeah,
the replay is nice though.
Mm-hmm. But it does feel nice to see something happen.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling it's more for just UX nicety.
I like the general replay process because if you have a multi-step agent, it's very hard to debug it by just looking at like a large graph of what occurred. Being able to kind of step through it, rewind in time, and see what occurred is pretty valuable.
So I'm just going to run, I did an invocation yesterday, so let's take a look at that replay. And, obviously this is not real time, but you can clearly see at every step what occurred. And what's nice is that you can actually see all the parameters, all the values in a given time. So, one big thing about evals and seeing if agents are working well is, okay, at any given step, what was the tool call? Was that correct? And did it actually end up doing the right thing? So in this case, I do think this replay is really valuable, and it's pretty annoying if you're just like running this through CLIs. Like that's harder to kind of debug and catch all those steps. So this UX I think is pretty valuable.
Although I would say the thing I would love to have myself is a way to annotate right here. I want to be able to say, no, that was correct, that was wrong, because you really want to be able to step through and improve those evals and really understand where are you failing.
In this case, let's just say like maybe there's a wrong tool call or just wrong behavior. When you annotate it, do you expect it to immediately go back and update the prompt, or is that more for you to track in?
The annotation or the labeling aspect is really just to track first, so that I can I'm doing like error analysis, let's say, and I want to be able to say out of 10 runs, these were the top failures. So I just will go through each of them and annotate or correct where it should have been. And, it'd be nice if it fixed it automatically, but at the very least, I just want to be able to kind of categorize where the problems are.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So it actually completed the task, and it does say it sent the email. It came from the Retool email address. It did go through the task. I'll try it on Datadog next, but it did the work. What do you think?
What do you get if you respond to that email? Does it just tell you no response?
Let's say hi to the Basilisk.
Yeah.
Oh, we got mail delivery subsystem.
Yeah, say if you, there we go, we get an error. It would make a lot of sense if you're building an agent that can actually not just follow a single workflow, but iterate on something with you. So imagine being able to say, oh, that looks great, but like I want a little more info on this company. Or you forgot someone else here, and it can go back and do this flow again.
Yeah.
Some way to kick that back off and have enough memory to know that you're working together and collaborating together rather than just following a simple workflow.
Yeah. The agent right now, like the multi-turn conversation, is this chat.
Yep.
But after you sort of forked off and sent the email, is there a way to just like come back and send that information into that context or fork that context?
Yeah, and I think this is a little bit of the is chat the only way to do everything?
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone leans into chat today because that's the easiest way to see a single thread, but you want almost to go back in time, sometimes fork it like you're saying, sometimes have this conversation across multiple mediums. If I talk to you over email and then I come talk to you over chat or in person, you don't forget what we were talking about.
Yeah.
I hope,
That's a really
usually,
good point,
sometimes. But usually you'll actually have enough context that we can kind of continue the conversation. There's this missing conversational or collaboration layer in some sense.
Yeah,
The agent needs to be a true agent or daemon, this kind of running with memory, long running memory is what I think is missing here. Because this session's basically done.
Yeah.
Once you ran the workflow, there's nothing else. It has the output and it's not going to remember anything of what it just did.
All right, let's take a look at some of these logs here, see if it's similar to most other tools. It does look like typical logs you'd see in an LLM platform, but it does have all the tool calls, which is interesting. So you can see that it's a tool call in the output of it.
That's pretty common, though. I think the main thing that they have that's differentiated is this replay.
Mm-hmm. They do have evals here. Let's actually try adding an eval. Let's do test 1. Let's do test. I made a little test earlier, but before I can do an eval, I want to create a data set first. Let's create a data set. I think my first thought is there's got to be a programmatic way to add this.
Especially if you ran a few, and it's back to the whole can I label real runs thing, is I would love to be able to just say, hey, I have these 4 runs, throw them into a data set.
Yeah.
I wonder if they let you do that. If you go back to one of the runs, can you actually add it?
The run itself?
Like, let's say a log.
Oh, the logs. I didn't see anything. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, that would be nice. I know some of the tools do that nowadays, where you could just say, add this to my...
Mm-hmm. Because chances are I'm not really going to manually create all these tests.
Right.
So I open test 5, I can open a test case. Great. Okay. So here we have input, we have the previous messages. Again, I'm a little surprised we can't just from the logs pull one.
Yeah.
It seems a little interesting. I actually am not sure how to do multi-turn here. I'm kind of curious. Let's just say assistant, hello. Oh, wow, you can do multi-turn.
Yeah, so it's probably if I want to see the conversation go this way, you can run that test. But again, this still feels very chat-focused in many ways. And I think that's what I've seen with a lot of the agent builders is that they all assume it's a chat going on rather than a more complicated task being completed.
Okay, and then here, it does say create, but I can't actually do it because I'm pretty sure you need a reviewer here, more of a UX thing, but these are required, but this one isn't required. But you have a couple options here. You've got LLM as a judge and these programmatic ones. So you have exact match, and then you've got good old string contains, or you could do some of these
that's an interesting one.
Off-the-shelf LLM as a judge pieces.
Yeah, it doesn't have this information. That makes sense. I mean, that's a lot of what we do for checking our own agents. Does it have these facts that it brought back, or this this information?
I'll do string contains. We know that it typically mentioned it had more than 80,000 employees. I'm actually very curious to see if that works. We'll go ahead and create that. And now, since I'm in the data set, let me actually go back to evals and see if I can run this.
There we go.
There we go. Run Salesforce. Okay, so it does have an evals runner. Probably not quite there as far as like creating the net new data sets themselves or even annotating them.
What did it tell you failed?
It just fully errored. I wonder why. Invalid tool. At this point, I actually don't even know how to debug this.
Oh, you know why?
Why is that?
Because you set up the chat, but you didn't say what tools were available.
Huh, but wouldn't it just run it on
the
this
full
agent
set
itself?
Yeah, I think that there's something around, like, what agent are we actually testing against?
But I think these all live under the agent, which was my assumption.
But you can add a new agent right there, so I don't know how you're associating it with a particular agent.
This is under the competition scanner.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at debugging. Let's see how hard it is. So we click on this. Can we see what the run actually did? This is what they should allow for.
Salesforce scenario. You know what? I'm not sure.
I don't think it actually it doesn't look like it ran the
It
agent
doesn't
from my
feel
point
like
of view.
it ran the agent because it would definitely would take much longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one thing that's a little confusing here is how is the eval actually running?
Right.
So if I had to give any feedback, it would be let's make this a bit clearer. Maybe it's us, but I feel like it should be a little more obvious.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I do like the general creation of the agent. Maybe I like the eval part less now.
I'm sure it's in beta, but yes, the agent creation process, it does feel pretty standard. You pick the instructions, you set the tools, and it's off to the races. It does have pretty standard logs. I would say the evals, not quite sold on how the setup process works, but it probably gets the job done for base ones.
Yep.
But yeah, what's your kind of gut reaction here?
Well, I think if I'm approaching this as someone who wants to do some work to cover tasks that I do day to day, the other part I would want to know is how easy is it to add new tools? So if we go back to one of these agents, can I like grab an MCP server? What can I do to actually add a tool here? I'm sure it's pretty straightforward.
So it does have some of the core tools you'd expect out of the box for Retool. So things that are related to calendars, Google Docs. They have their own storage, which feels like a data store. They have vector databases. They've got a web search tool. With also, you could always just create custom tools.
Or connect to an MCP server.
Does it have that right there?
Yep.
Oh, here we go. Connect to MCP server.
That's actually a great addition there, too. I'll have to try that out. How do you actually do this, though?
It looks like it's got the URL here.
Perfect. So we could do a remote MCP server.
Yeah.
We should try that with the Datadog one at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And then, can you write a little code if you want to as a tool, or do you need to write that separately and then expose it as a server? If we do create new custom tool.
I think you can just write JavaScript.
Well, no one writes JavaScript, but I'd love to write some Python.
Yeah. And you can use this workflow tool to kind of just sequence things, and Python. There you go.
Perfect. Okay. That's
actually
nice.
Pretty robust.
Yeah.
From the tooling perspective.
You've got the bring your own code. You have bring your own MCP server. You have a bunch of built-in third-party tool connections already and first-party tool connections.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can get a lot done with this.
Yeah.
Now I just need to go and figure out how, since it's a remotely running agent, you have to go and ask security to actually approve it. That's the bigger problem after this.
Yeah, I am kind of curious. I haven't. It did seem to do the email, but if I tried to do get calendar events, would it just automatically work on my admin account? This is just like a personal admin account, so I'm curious to see if that just works out of the box, or I just need an approval process.
It'll probably work on yours. It just won't work on our work one.
Yeah.
Because that will be locked down.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So we went through agents, went through the landing page, went through just like a couple base cases here, and overall, I'm pretty interested. I mean, it does seem like it could do some tasks and send out information. I am very curious to see how, when things fail, is that very obvious? Definitely in the email side, if the output is just an email, it will probably email something.
Yes.
But if it becomes like creating data or touching a DB, that's where I'd want to be a bit more careful.
Yeah, I think I saw this, and we should do this on a different recording at some point. I saw the the agent inbox from LangGraph, from LangChain folks, that was a lot about how do you actually keep a human in the loop, and that part is a little bit less obvious here. If I have some work that I want to get done, but I want to automate part of it, then ask for some input from me, especially for a long-running non-chat based task. I'd love to be able to be pinged, get an email to me and I can answer a question, or ping me on Slack or something.
One thing that we didn't really see is like a human in the loop kind of step here. So
except for if you wait for chat, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's why I still think it's very chat focused.
Mm-hmm. One thing we didn't try, and maybe in a different one we can, is just what happens if you try the multi-turn in the email itself. Maybe that does answer the question earlier.
Yep.
Maybe it just uses the response.
Oh, look, here we go.
Yeah.
So they do have some way to handle a response. It's just they have this like UID based email thing.
Mm-hmm. We actually do something similar at Datadog for on-call. Yeah, let me zoom out for you here.
There's probably a way to actually add a conversational step. But right now it looks like it will trigger this whole workflow if you get an email here.
Yeah, I think if you send an email here, it'll trigger the whole thing, and then the multi-turn is the thread of the email.
This is still a little, we should play with it, but this is still a little bit back to the whole, I think it's very focused on a workflow being triggered rather than like have an agent that runs every morning for me and does a few
that's
things
true.
and comes back to me in a few
The one
hours.
thing I would have thought I'd see here is like a cron job or a timing piece as opposed to just chat and email.
Right.
Yeah. I know it needs some input, but I can imagine some of these just doing an initial, the first step being a data pull itself.
Yeah, proactive. Like go and check the weather today and tell me what I should be doing. Go and look at the stock market. Go and do a bunch of things that are background tasks rather than wait for a human to tell you to go do it.
Cool. So I say we keep it there. Thanks for checking out with us, and see y'all next time.
See ya.
Peace.